everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday edition of the Business Power Hour with Darren, Dimples, and the Music Man. Me. Hey, Dimps.
Hey, Mr. Music Man. How you doing this evening?
What's going on?
How are you?
Well, good. What's up? Two ladies. This is a true story. These two ladies at a network meeting came over to me, and he said, your show was really good, but we missed Dimples. Good evening, everybody. I just got the finger from Jim.
It's all part of the story.
Right.
Hey everybody, it's Darren from the Business Power Hour. I'm not going to be in the studio tonight. I'm traveling.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man, except Darren's not here.
I'm here.
No,
I'm
you're
right
not
here.
Does anybody see that? Darren is not here. Darren is away.
I am right here, right
Be quiet
next
for
to
a
you.
second. You're not here.
What?
I don't know if you got lucky.
Not the
Really interesting question.
That's a fantastic question, Norman.
Wow. See, I got fantastic. You just got good. I got fantastic.
show's about him, so let's focus on that. Were you drinking before the show?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
There we go. We got it.
It's good.
No, it's
Now we got
Oh, there you go. Okay.
smother it.
So, I think that's a music thing. It's making music.
Is it?
Yeah. That's so sweet. That's so sweet of you, Darren.
By the way, this is a Yankee station.
It's a
Thank
Yankee
you.
station. John,
Thank you.
it's a Yankee station.
All right.
Unfortunately,
We got bugs in here. What's going on?
I don't know.
Do you spray? Get
You
an
know what?
exterminator?
It's that time of year where you're getting bugs and stuff. As long as we don't have bees, I'm good.
Yeah, all right. That's
But
We have a lot of undulations out in the field. Undulations.
Is that a wine?
no,
What the hell is undulation?
Fred, don't use big words. Hey, right? So this.
Help.
I gotta give him a cough button, Jim. What do you think?
Cough button
Because-
would be a good idea. Consider that a good question that he asked?
Great question.
There's
There
a
you go.
good
I
question.
got
Pythons and brains.
You're double D?
I'm double D. Show's about him, so let's focus on that.
Hey, give me some loving.
How are you, Music Man?
Hello, Darren. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm
this week.
absolutely convinced. I'm absolutely convinced that
telling
you
you.
got some kind of brain damage when you had that thing last year.
I'm telling you, and he called.
Not classy, but classy.
Seeing interviews by Darren and the Music Man. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Siafe and Norman Wasserman.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everybody. And as the last words were, let's do this. So, hello, Darren. Let's do this.
Let's do this. We got some great people already looking at Brittany Anderson, all the way from Seattle, Washington.
I'm
is
telling you,
watching
what-
us tonight. Good
What
evening,
a
Brittany.
gal. I think her birthday was last week or coming up?
It's very soon.
It's coming up, right?
It's coming up, and we want to wish Brittany a very, very happy birthday.
Before anybody else does, we wish you a happy birthday.
Yes, before anybody else does, Brittany. I still have your pink positive shirt there, my friend.
Yeah, well, okay.
So pink positive all the way. That's where
That's
we
it.
got to
That's
go.
the way we
Brittany,
go.
Right?
I'm waiting for a baseball cap from her now
Why a baseball cap?
because I think those are really cool. I think
You
pink
sent us
positive on
a
it.
shirt. What do you always want stuff for nothing?
Did I say for nothing? Did I say that? I'm not the one that has the horses in the backyard.
I don't have
The driveway.
horses. I don't have
Building a
horses.
stable out there for the now 8 horses that you
You
do
know,
have.
about 15 minutes before we got on, I walked out in the backyard and I spooked all the deer out. And we had a whole bunch of deer in the backyard.
They were sniffing all that horse crap, huh?
Yes. So how was your week, Music Man? What's going on?
Actually, the week was very, very busy. A lot of good things. Hopefully that will be happening. We have our Neil Diamond show Saturday night.
Yes, Neil Diamond, all the
So we're
way.
looking forward to that. It's doing very, very well. And that's all stuff, just the normal stuff. And yourself?
I'm, busier than ever. Radio show is going great. And for those of you who don't know, I have a show called the Darren Siafe Show on WRCN LI News Radio every Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. You can hear it on iHeartRadio and radio.net. as well as it is now available on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all those fun stations and stuff like that. So, and
So
I'm
you're cheating on me.
I'm cheating on you. You know, I told you before I even did it.
You are cheating on me. Well, you didn't even ask me if I want a menage a radio.
You want a menage a radio? I'm going to ask you on next month. I got a show I want to do, and I want to bring you on.
Well, your ratings are down.
Yeah, my ratings are
So
down.
you
So I
need
need to
to
bring them up.
come on.
That's why I'm going to bring you on, because my ratings are down.
You know what we really need?
What do we need?
We need a really good attorney.
Yes, we do. We always need a good attorney because you're
But
always
you
getting
need
us
a
in
good
trouble.
attorney because you got so many clients
Yeah,
that you
But
do
you're always
business
getting
with.
us in trouble.
Well, you do have clients, don't you?
Yes, I have plenty of clients that need attorneys and need
So
good
let's
attorneys.
let's introduce Rob Mehran Jr. of the Mehran Law Group. Mehran, how are you?
Rob, how are you this evening?
Hey
Oh,
guys,
there, Rob. Oh,
there he is.
Look at it. He put a jacket on for us.
He put a jacket on. He looks all spiffy.
that's it. How are we doing tonight, guys?
All right.
Good. How are you, my
sir?
friend?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Nice to
that's
be
the other.
had.
That's the other thing I didn't mention too. In the next couple of months, we may be starting to do shows from the studio again.
That's right.
But
What are you doing? Jumping up and down in your chair?
My camera's falling already. We got technical difficulties.
We got
Look at
technical
We're off to a great start, guys.
That's
Wait,
great.
So
Yes,
Rob,
you mentioned studio. We'll be back in studio.
That'd be
yeah,
great.
yeah, we'll be back in studio, and then this way, Rob, you don't have to worry about your camera and all that other stuff. We'll take care of all that stuff.
As a technician,
But you will have to wear a face mask.
That's okay. If it helps, it helps, right?
Or we're going to set it up so that we'll be at least 6-7 feet apart
Sure.
Yep.
and be able to take in the whole room. But we'll worry about that next month. Right now, Rob, tell us about yourself. Where is your office located? Why did you pick becoming an attorney? Did you always?
Well, let's
Wanna
start from
be one?
this. Let's start from this, Rob.
Yes.
What type of law do you practice?
I'm a business attorney and a civil litigator. And what that means is for small businesses, I do anything and everything from a legal perspective for them, from formation to dissolution or sale and all the litigation and contracts in between. And for the individual, the civil litigation, nuisance value, easements, property, you're suing your contractor. So I try to, and then I have a network of attorneys. I'm a counsel to other firms, so that if I can't do it, I would refer it to those firms because I know what I know and I know what I don't know. I'm not an attorney that tries to, pretend he knows everything.
That's key with an attorney, right? Is having an attorney who knows they don't know something and will go out and get the help to get the right person to handle it.
But that would be good for anybody in any business. If you don't
I
know
don't
something,
understand.
you got to go find someone who does.
Yeah, I just don't understand, why attorneys think they know everything. I mean, there's negative.
I got a theory on that.
I wide open for you. It's a softball.
So Rob, let's ask this question. This is Norm's famous patented question there.
Back in the day.
Coin question.
Okay.
When you were on the playground,
yeah,
right? Were you dreaming about being a business attorney and a civil litigator?
No. I was dreaming about being a police officer.
Okay.
And
a police officer.
Correct. So some form of law enforcement. And it was either that or an attorney. And I argued well. Let's just say bedtime was always a negotiation with my mother and teachers. We had to have discussions about what was and was not acceptable behavior in the classroom setting, and then as I grew, I practiced those skills from I guess birth, and I just grew into it. And it is not something that I went right into after college either. So it is something that.
So what was the turning point when you said, "Okay, I'm going to be an attorney"?
Well, that's interesting, and this is a true story. So after college, I went down to Washington D.C. and I worked on Capitol Hill for a little while, and really enjoyed the experience, but did not like the environment.
Okay.
Um,
Why is that? Why wouldn't you like working in politics?
Well, the simple and just the frank, God's honest truth answer is, in order to succeed there, you have to really change who you are, and because you have to, compromise in a lot of, your integrity in certain respects to get some big deals done. You vote for me on this, I'll vote for you on that, whether or not I agree with it or not. It's politics. There's a word, there's a reason why they call it politics.
So it is truly the swamp down there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was absolutely, it's not even, I mean,
I thought we didn't have a swamp anymore.
No, he's trying.
Sorry, we're not talking politics.
Yeah, we're not talking politics, but we'll get it. All right. So you're down in Washington, D.C.
And my grandfather, God rest his soul, he called me. I was doing a couple of things. I was working on the Hill. I was doing a few other things. And he called me and he said, didn't you always want to be an attorney? And I said, yeah, Pop, I did. He said, well, why are you down there wasting your time and your talent if you're not happy? And I said, well, it's a pretty good question. I was 22, 23, and isn't that what we do at 22, 23? We just
waste a lot of time.
So he kind of had a frank talk with me, and I said, what's the big deal? You have to take it's called the LSAT. Like college had the SATs, law school, the LSATs. It's the entrance exam for law school.
Right.
Went home that night, and I just signed up for it, and I was scheduled to take it. Back up home in New York, back here. I flew home a few months later for the test, and it was up in Stony Brook. And for an extra $50, you could have stayed in the dorm the night before.
Right.
And so, it's a far ride. The test starts at 8:30 in the morning. You don't. I want to take away some variables on what
right.
was the stressful thing, right? So
you want to get a good night's sleep. You want to be able to jump up, get going, right?
So, at this point, I was probably 20. I was probably 25, 26, maybe 25, 24. And I was in the dorm, and I prayed, and I said, I'm ready to find out what I'm supposed to do with my life, and if it's supposed to be an attorney, please God, just give me a sign. And with that, the lights went out.
The lights went out.
So I'm like, okay.
Now, Rob, you weren't saying that as you had your hand on the switch.
No.
No, his hands are up here. They were up here.
I was socially distanced from the light, 6 feet away. And I was praying out loud, so I thought maybe somebody else heard me or whatever. So I walked into, it was a suite. I walked into the bathroom. There was nobody there. I walked into the other room.
Thank God.
Hallway. There was nobody there. And I came back into the room, and the light switch was in the down position. So I turned it back on, and I said, okay, I got it. I slept like a baby. I didn't worry about a thing. I woke up the next morning. I walked across the campus, took the test, didn't worry about it. Saying, I put in the work. Obviously, it wasn't going to be gifted to me. I did what I had to do. Went to law school, worked in the day.
So it wasn't divine intervention that he just came down and said, boom, that's it.
You didn't give me the answers.
Did you actually pass the test, or did you have to take it 2 or 3 times?
No, well, the LSAT is a scored test. I scored very well on it. I was able to go into law school. And then for the bar exam, I took 2 bar exams, and I was lucky enough to pass them both on the first try. So I'm admitted in New York and Connecticut, because I went to college in Connecticut. I went to University in Connecticut. So I've never been, since that point, I know I enjoy what I do. I actually love it. So it was the right sign. I know a lot of attorneys that actually hate being attorneys. I happen to love it. And so I've never been nervous about what I do, because I know it's what I'm supposed to do. So I'm very blessed in that regard.
Okay. So you come out of law school.
Yep.
Right. You get your first job.
Yes.
what type of law were you practicing in your first firm? This type of law, or were you doing something different?
Similar. So out of law school, I got two offers. One for a pretty well-known firm on the island, and one from a small firm. And the well-known firm wanted me to do real estate closings.
Right.
And very candidly, I just don't like that area of law. I don't like doing residential real estate closings. Commercial closings is different, but residential real estate closings is not my cup of tea. I'll do it for clients as a favor, but it's not something that I promote, right? And the other firm, the small firm, offered me litigation, and I would have been the fourth attorney. And it's something exactly that I wanted. Was what I always wanted to do, litigation.
Well, let me ask you this. You know how like every profession has sexy jobs, so to speak.
Yes.
Is litigation like the sexy job for lawyers when they come out?
Well, the litigation I took was certainly not the sexy one.
I mean, when you're going through law school, right, and you're thinking about what kind of attorney you want to be, it's almost like I'm a pilot. Okay. So when you look at the different pilots and you look at, and I'm in the Air Force Auxiliary, and we look at the different pilots, you got fighter pilots, you got pilots that fly tankers, you got pilots that fly cargo, so it's all different types of pilots. And everybody, when they first join, is like, I want to be that fighter pilot because that's the cool thing to do. And then they find out that all of the jobs, just flying is cool. It doesn't matter what kind of bird you're flying.
Fair analogy.
Can I ask you a question? Why is it that attorneys, when they litigate or face a judge, have to close their sport jacket or their suit jacket? Why is it, man? Is that a course in school that the attorneys have to button their jacket? Excuse me, Your Honor. Well, I just put my jacket on and tighten it up. Is that a special thing?
Yeah, that's actually a course, and there's actually a question on the bar exam about that too. So.
Oh, I just wanted
to know. No, it's just decorum. It's just decorum. It's.
Oh, you mean standing there with your suit on, tie, nice and neat, looking like $1,000,000 is not decorum. Closing the jacket. I want to argue this, counselor.
Why are you arguing?
I'm arguing. I'm litigating. I'm litigating in a sport shirt.
Okay. I think proper etiquette is that you close the single button on the jacket in any arena. I think that's, in the court it's more important, I guess, in that regard.
Listen, when I was wearing a suit every day, I worked for at the time a Big 10 accounting firm. First of all, we weren't allowed to wear double-breasted suits because that was too flashy. But when we were standing and walking, the decorum, as you said, was you closed your suit jacket. You button one button and you kept it closed. And then when you sat down, you opened it. You didn't sit down with a button suit jacket.
That's absolutely true. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
and that's how I was taught, and I'm sure you face the same thing. It's just professionalism. I know, Norm, you really didn't experience that with the stuff.
No, I wear glitter jackets.
I know you wear
glitter jackets and rhinestones. And
show up to court in a leather jacket like my cousin Vinny and see how it looks.
Yeah, no, just like that.
That's how Norm would show up.
Yeah. I'm about as tall as he is. So that works. And what are you laughing at? You're just as short.
I'm sitting down, you can't tell.
Listen, none of us are tall, so it is what it is, right?
It's okay.
So, but regardless, I want to do a quick shout out to James McCann. He joined us tonight. Hey, James, how are you?
Eileen's on too because she sent me a message.
Eileen. Hi, Eileen. I haven't seen her, but Eileen, how are you?
She told me I was sleeping. She said I should wake up.
Yeah. Okay. We're all waking up. Let's keep Rob in the conversation.
So what's your favorite?
I put Norman to sleep.
What's your favorite type of law? What do you get the most thrills at doing?
Litigation. Absolutely litigation. Because in my opinion, it's the only area of law where you really test your mettle as a lawyer, because it's you versus the other lawyer, and it's okay, come and beat me, or I'm going to come and beat you. it really becomes like a prize fight. And that's really the way I look at it. And, you know, respectfully, I go into the courtroom looking to bury the other attorney. Professionally, not personally. But, you know, I'll talk to them afterwards. I maintain a healthy relationship. But in the trial, it's me or you.
Do you guys have like rankings?
No.
Like who's the best? Do you ever have?
I mean,
sure there is
they have
some.
all these
Sure there
rankings.
is.
They have all these rankings that you can pay for, you can buy, and you can. I'm the greatest.
Right. That's in every industry, right?
No, so I don't need to tell people how great I am. My experience is if you have to tell people how great you are, you're not that great. So I let my clients talk for me and my reputation. And
is there ever a time, Rob, and you don't have to name names, but is there ever a time where you get a case and you're up against another attorney and you go, oh crap, this is going to be tough because the other guy is good?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's not, just like not all accountants are created equal, not all attorneys are created equal, right? Not everyone in the industry is created equal, and there are very good attorneys out there, and I love those cases when it's somebody that's really really good at what they do. I love it because it absolutely forces me to be laser focused and not take my foot off the gas because I know if I do, they're going to capitalize on it.
Which is more important, the knowledge of the law or what knowledge you have and how you present it?
Knowing the judges.
You know what? I was going to say something to that effect. It's who you know, right, Rob?
I guess it would be important that judges do like you.
Very important.
Absolutely.
Very, very important. And that they have to like your client too. If they don't like your client, you know, they're gonna draw from your well of goodwill, which is
well,
not.
How do they know whether they like the client or not? Just by reading the case?
No, a good judge before the case goes to trial brings in both sides individually and then collectively try to settle it beforehand. And if your conduct up until that point has been irrational, combative, egregious, the judge will know that, learn that, and not look favorably on you. I had my very first case, and this goes back to the non-sexy part of litigation that I started out with, which was insurance coverage. I represented insurance companies. So my very first case was I second chair the partner of the firm. A doctor was on all sorts of medications, and he was about 80 years old. It was a hot day, and he fell in a supermarket, and he didn't get hurt, and it was going all the way to trial, and he wanted $1 million to settle it, and the judge asked him privately what he wanted, and he said $1 million, and she said, well, give me something less than 7 figures. And he said to her, $999,999. And I thought she was going to jump across the table and choke him, because she said, if you ever say that again, I'm going to throw your case out. And now she really wouldn't have the authority to do that, but that's now not liking the client, right? So his attorney had to play damage control, and where he got back at him is on the objections. Overruled, sustained admissibility of evidence, the type of question, whether it was leading or whatnot. Those objections are supposed to go 50-50, in favor and against, in theory. She didn't like them. They did not go 50-50.
So now, is that a basis for a mistrial or not a mistrial, but a appeal?
Yes. And it's not in theory, yes. If it goes on to admissibility of evidence, that's a evidence and improper standards, jury instructions, what you told the jury. It's called pattern jury instructions, and there's certain ways to phrase different cases and law in terms of how you instruct the jury to interpret it and apply the facts to the law. So that they apply the appropriate standard. Those are avenues for appeal. The case ended up settling, for $150,000. And I remember that because I was furious. And this was my first lesson. I was furious that it settled. And the other partner said, "Why are you so mad?" I said, "Because we had a winning case." And he said, "The client asked you to settle it for $150,000. Yeah. The client's happy. I said, "Yeah, that you did your job." That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was my first case. I was, a year and a half, not even a year out of law school. And I never forgot, obviously I never forgot that. We're 12, 13 years later.
Do you watch TV at all?
I'm sorry?
Do you watch TV at all?
I do, not a lot. I watch a
Do you
handful.
watch any shows that have lawyers?
I do. I enjoy them. Sometimes.
Is there one?
Norm, your mic is getting low.
My mic's getting low?
Yeah, your mic's getting low.
My mic is at 100%.
I guess talk louder.
Okay, I'll talk louder. Is there a particular legal show on that you enjoy and that maybe you even learned something from? Is there tips that you could pick up or anything?
The cases are not solved in a half hour or an hour. So it's very rare in our profession that you have the Columbo moment. I will say this, and I've told young lawyers this. Do you remember the movie A Civil Action?
Yes.
That is probably the most accurate depiction of what we do and how we do it.
You mean Judge Judy doesn't do it?
I enjoy Judge Judy.
That doesn't work. All right.
I enjoy Judge Judy. But just so you know, those cases, when you're on those are real cases, but they make you sign an agreement, and it doesn't matter who wins or loses. The show pays
Right.
for whatever the decision is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you lose and you have to pay whatever, a couple $1,000s, Judge Judy's show pays a couple $1,000s. So, it's great TV though. It's great TV.
Right.
It's been great for her, that's for sure.
Well, you think about the two parties, it doesn't cost them anything at that point.
Correct. Although some of those cases and some of their behavior don't necessarily. There have been a couple of attorneys on that show,
Right.
and I would watch it with my wife, and she would look at me and I'd be like, "I have no idea why these attorneys are on this show and acting as ridiculous as they're acting. They probably are not doing well and making it for a living as an attorney."
Right. Yeah. That's why they're on the show, right? Because they're trying to get some kind of exposure.
Pretty embarrassing, some of their conduct.
Yeah.
If an attorney is getting $500 an hour and another attorney is getting $300 an hour, is there really a difference in their quality, or is it just someone has a big head versus the other one and thinks that their time is more valuable?
I think all attorneys have a big head, right? I think that's the nature of it.
It's like in my business. I mean, there are certain groups that do the same exact thing, represent the same exact tribute band that they're trying to do, but one gets $3,000 or $4,000 more than the other one. They both put in the same amount of people into a room. I don't know.
I look at it like this. I don't mean to cut you off, Rob. I look at it like this. If you can get more money for doing what you do, God bless you. God bless you. This is what our society is based on, capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And that's a fair point. And I cut you off, I apologize. But there's also something to be said for how much can you eat,
Yeah.
So,
Well, no, and Rob, I don't disagree with you, but at the same time, if you got people knocking on your door saying, "Hey, I'll pay you that extra $3,000 or $4,000 just to use you," am I going to turn it down?
No, and God bless him, like you said. I don't begrudge anyone for letting a living. It's the attorneys that paper the file, and I'll explain what that means. Those are the ones that drive me nuts. Those are the ones that send a letter and an email when a 2-minute telephone conversation would suffice, and it's just so that they can bill the client.
Right.
It's and you can spot those attorneys pretty quickly because it's very obvious, when something is so simple and they need to make it so complex. And it's so funny. I do a lot of selling and buying of businesses for clients, representing clients that sell and buy businesses. And I'll always tell the client, they'll say, how much is this going to cost or whatever. And I'll say, listen, I can tell you what I'm going to do. I can never tell you what the other side's going to do. And if you're always worried about who's going to screw up a deal, it's usually the attorneys. Very candidly, it really is. They have to justify their existence. They feel they have to justify their existence to their client. They feel like they have to do something.
I think it's, and like you said, Rob, if you're not a competent attorney, if you're a competent attorney like you know what you're doing, you're confident in what you're doing, you're going to get paid the fees that you rightly should be paid, and you're not going to gouge people by creating additional billing or creating a scenario. I went through a divorce, and it was like it just felt like the attorneys just never wanted it to end.
They don't.
Even though we were pretty much at, okay, we're done, we agree on this stuff, something else would come up or something else would come up. And you know what I mean? And I felt like all you're doing is creating billing for me.
Absolutely. I tell my clients all the time, you can fight as long as you want and as hard as you want. The only people that are going to win is me and the other attorney.
Right.
So there's a value on cases. And what is your pride worth? What is your ego worth? What is being right worth to you? And if you have to be right at all costs, I will tell you, I will warn you, and then I will embrace you because you're going to make me a lot of money.
And how do people get in touch with you?
They can call me at 5.
That's a good idea. Give them the phone number.
Sure, 516-986-9080. 516-986-9080.
He follows direction well, right? You did a good job prepping.
You did a good job with that.
I would say it twice, right? What kind of attorney would I be if I can't follow?
Gotta be done twice.
How would I do a contract if I can't read it, right?
There you go. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of minute break here. We're going to show Norm's got a Neil Diamond show coming up this Saturday, right, Norm?
Saturday night, 8 o'clock.
Right. So we're going to take a couple, about a minute and a half break here, or actually a minute break, and we'll be right back. I'm just going to stop your video there. We'll be right back right after these words.
One hot night, a 10-piece band replicating Neil Diamond's career from start to today. Tommy Lynn delivers a spot-on performance as Neil Diamond. It doesn't get any better. One hot night will not disappoint. It's exciting, it's energy, it's colorful, and it's one hot night.
Have you lost control of your business? This is business consultant Darren Sayafi. Listen to me every Monday at 3 p.m. as we discuss strategies and solutions where you can regain control. That's every Monday at 3 starting September 14th, right here on LI News Radio.
All right, we are back.
Okay. Quick commercial.
Right, good job so far, Rob. I would hire you.
Who, me?
No, Rob. Sure. I would hire him.
I would hire him too.
Right.
Like we discussed before, Rob, you and I got to get together because we could probably do some stuff together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't know. You get together with all these people. I don't get to meet nobody.
You meet everybody. What are you talking about? You're the one who brings everybody on the show.
Yeah, well,
that's how I get to meet them. But then we actually do business together because we do this type of business.
I don't get any residuals on any of this stuff. I'm supposed to get some.
Is that what it is? So who are you supposed to get residual? So Rob, we need you to negotiate a deal here.
Okay.
Write up a contract.
Gotta see how much I'm worth.
Well, attorneys can't pay referral fees, so we're ethically prohibited.
There you go.
So, and I think the only reason that they created that law is just so the attorneys can keep all the money and not have to share. Because we're the only industry that doesn't do that, right? Everybody else, there's a finder's fee, there's a referral fee. Nope.
There's always a way to get some money out of this thing.
We create the loopholes and then close them as needed.
And there are some loopholes.
Eileen just brought and Eileen is now on there. Hi, Eileen.
Anyway,
She's got a great question. How important is it for somebody who's just starting out to consult an attorney, starting a business, to consult an attorney before they even open their doors?
Oh my God, it's the most important thing. I always equate it to building a building, right? If you're going to build a 100-foot skyscraper and you have the greatest plans in the world to build the skyscraper, if you don't do the foundation right, you'll get the Leaning Tower of Pisa, right?
Well, wait a second. I can go online and I can pay a fee and I can get my company created and I can get all these nice documents and a nice, Black Beauty binder and all this other stuff sent to me. Isn't that enough just to get going?
Well, I can get you the book too if you want. If that's
he has my book. We haven't pulled it out.
That's how I got Norman the book, right? So, but the important thing is, there's an adage: you get what you pay for. That's number one. But really, more specifically, and not the canned answer, is there's so much that goes into building a business, and there's so much that goes into planning a business. And your business. I know the law, right? I'm not going to tell you how to run your business. So you really shouldn't think that somebody else or a form is going to tell you how to run the law. There's so many things. For instance, if it's going to be you and a partner, and it's just two of you, how does voting work? Who breaks a tie? What happens if one of you passes away? Are you going to be partners with that individual's spouse, or do you get the shares? What happens if you suddenly disagree and you want to sell? Do you have to sell it to you first, or?
And what people don't realize, sometimes you go into business with somebody and you create a partnership. It's a marriage.
Absolutely. It's absolutely appropriate.
It's absolutely a marriage. And when a marriage goes bad, that's when you can't get, and creating and you're talking about creating an operating agreement, right? And those, especially for partnerships.
Depending on LLC, PL, or a corporation.
Kind of outlines that. I took on a client a few years ago, and they were working with their attorney, and I met their attorney, and their attorney said to me, he goes, I've been trying to get these guys to do an operating agreement for 12 years. I can't get them to do it. Can you help me? Right. So he goes, he felt if it was a two-prong attack, maybe we can finally get this thing done.
Yeah.
So I would always pose the question when we met to go over their financials and stuff. I would turn to one and say, well, if something happens to him, do you want to be in business with his wife?
There you go.
And I knew that answer. And the answer was no.
What did she look like?
Trust me, he didn't want to be in business with his wife. So actually, we finally got them to do it.
And that's so important. And then there's I've had clients that have come to me after the fact from a litigation standpoint that entered into a contract or a lease with themselves, not their company. So they're personally liable when the business goes south.
Right.
I had another woman, I don't know how she did it. She was in business for 30 years, but not a company. She used the name, but she wasn't incorporated, and she wasn't a company. So she wasn't a corporation or a company, right? And she got sued. And
they got everything.
She said, how do I get out of this? I said, we mitigate it. That's all we can do. This is going to cost you a lot of money. Because, by the way, there's no insurance, right? Yeah. So what do you do? So your personal assets are exposed.
But Robbie, you got a lot of people who start businesses and they have no money. So it's like, how do I do this if I really have no money to get this done? And I, more times than not, I see in my business, because, as we discussed before, we're a firm that really helps. We do business advisory services, business coaching, as well as we do accounting, taxes, and bookkeeping. But the basis of what we do is help businesses grow. And we see it all the time where, somebody will come to us and I go, well, I'm in business. And they like you just said, have no structure.
Right.
And and the first thing I say is, do you want to lose everything?
It's, I understand you have the money when you start up, right? The majority of businesses are undercapitalized when first starting, right? And that's, it shouldn't cost you $10,000 to start a business with me.
No.
It's not getting ridiculous. But it's going to cost you something. But at the same time, it's a necessary expense, and it's going to save you exponentially in the long run. It's because I'm going to identify areas in your business because you're going to tell me your business plan and you're going to tell me what type of business you want. And I'm going to discuss with you liabilities and risks in your industry that you haven't thought of because you shouldn't have thought of them. You're thinking of your industry and how to market your product, whatever that is, or market your business, and there's in your right in a business valuation, if it's retail, right, you're looking to rent the space, you look at foot traffic, what side of the street gets more cars,
You're more interested when you're starting a business, you're more interested in, I know what I know and I know what I want to sell, but you have no idea about everything else. And all, like you said, creating that foundation.
I know what a fair price per square footage is on the lease for that particular zip code. I know how to value your business. I can tell you what banks are business friendly and are absolute disasters. And I won't say them on here, but
well, this is cable. You can say anything you want.
No, he doesn't want to name names. We're not going to name names here.
You're not going to say anything about Chase. I get it.
So there are certain banks that I absolutely strongly advise my clients not to go to. But if they do, they do. It's, I tell my clients, I work for you. You don't work for me. So it's my responsibility to protect you. But if you want me to go head first into that wall, I'm going to tell you it's a bad idea. I'm going to make you sign something so you don't sue me for malpractice when it goes bad. And then I'm going to go head first into the wall and we'll call it a day. And
well,
I can't believe that happened.
Don't you also advise your clients, or do you advise them yes or advise them no?
No,
I make suggestions.
I advise my clients and I speak to my clients, and my son is 8, and what I tell him in trying to teach him to be a man, the golden rule: you treat people the way you want to be treated. Right? That's how I operate business. I treat people the way I want to be treated. If I was sitting across the table, what would I want and what would I expect? And I don't expect fancy legal jargon to make myself sound brilliant or to make myself sound important or to justify what my fee is or anything like that. I expect to talk to you person to person, understand your concerns and fears, because don't forget, this is your hopes and dreams that you're putting in, but it's also very scary because when you get your check every 2 weeks, you may not be happy, but that check comes every 2 weeks. When you start your own business, it's a whole
different. And that, one of the things that we do, especially with new businesses, is we put a whole cash flow management system in place for them to help them through this. Because, we know when we first start a business, you keep all the money in the business. You don't take anything for yourself. Next thing you know, you're starving and, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul and you're doing all this. We've come up with a great way to manage that and work with that with our clients. And I do the same thing, Rob, where I advise my clients, here are we'll talk about banks. Here are the banks I like to work with because they're really easy to work with and they're friendly for businesses. But somebody will say, well, I got my wife's uncle's VP at this bank, so we're over there, and I'm okay. If that's where you want to be, that's where you want to be. But I'm going to tell you, when we need to do this, this, and this, it's going to be difficult to do it with that bank.
Well, that's an interesting point that you made, because you do find that, right? That's something you touched on. They say my wife's cousin's friend's neighbor's second cousin who I love. I never met. I met once, but I'm going to put all my faith in them. And that really is actually just showing how afraid and scary the business is, and they're just looking for somebody to help them.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
Might as well, instead of using your cousin's friend's neighbor's second hand on your sister.
I'm sure you hear it all the time too, right? It's like, well, my cousin told me, or my friend told me, or my friend did it this way. Well, who did he use? Because, and then you find out he saw it on the internet somewhere, and and because it's on the internet, we know it's true. Quick shout out to Joshua Hernandez. My niece my goddaughter Heather, her husband, who's in the Army. Josh, thanks for watching us. He watches us religiously.
Thank you for your service.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And we'll get Heather to watch again soon, but that's not been happening.
They're in a way.
And just a quick shout out to his son Tosh took a baseball in the eye over the weekend. got
Oh,
a big,
that's terrible.
but yeah, he's doing okay.
Okay.
Get well, Tosh.
How old is he?
Tosh is 12 or 13,
Wow.
something like that.
So
Yeah.
those kids weren't kidding. I mean, when you're 12,
No,
13
this was-
nowadays, they're serious ball players.
Yeah, they're serious ball players. He's in that type of thing. So
Does your son play Little League or soccer, Rob?
Yes, he plays Little League and he's in martial arts. Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
coach?
since-
Do you coach or manage any of the teams?
I don't. I will one day. It's something that I promised him I would do, and that's
I gotta
actually.
tell you, it's the best feeling in the world.
Well, that's why I started my own firm.
Oh my God, it's so great.
You know that Norman, you and I have had this conversation. The reason I left my firm and decided never to work for another person again was my son had a Christmas pageant 3 years ago, and it was from 10 o'clock to 11, and the school was actually a mile away from the office, and I asked if I could go. And I said, I'll just use that as my lunch hour, and I'll of course stay late because I always stay late. What's the difference, right? The work's done. And he said, no. And I was like, what do you mean, no? So I said, okay, no. And and I hate to say it this way, but with the money I was bringing in,
Who said the no? The he or the she?
He, which was surprising. She, I would have expected it.
Yeah, you're right. So you would tell him, right?
Norman knew. Norman and I met while I was still at the firm. He knew how miserable it was.
well, yeah, I mean, this is what it goes to too, because I started my own firm for similar reasons. It was I just couldn't work for somebody who had unreasonable expectations, especially with work-life balance.
It's very funny. While I was there, I was looking, and I was recruited by a very large firm, and they wanted me, and they were throwing a lot of money at me. And I sat in the interview with 5 partners, and we were talking about things, and they were really pushing hard. And I said, "That's great. You can have me any day during the week." And I said to them, and they almost fell off the chairs. I said, "Listen," I said, "I'm yours for whenever you need me, except on Saturdays." I said, "Saturday is Daddy Robert Saturday. It's for me and my son. You can call me. You can email me. I will not respond. I will email you back or call you back at 12:01 on Saturday night, and I'll work all day Sunday for you if you need me to, but you cannot have Saturdays." Well, you would have thought that like I was the Captain Swallow's Canary. Because who's going to say that in an interview, right?
Right. Yeah. Who's definitely going to say that?
So that I'm going to work for you. So they didn't press hard after that.
Well, you know what? Because, and that's the thing, they set unrealistic expectations for work-life balance. And that's why so many people go out on their own, is because they feel like they don't have a life outside.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Nobody is ever going to tell me I can't be with my family when I need to be with my family. I don't care how much money you offer me. It's just not going to happen. You can go find another attorney if that's your expectation.
See, they set those goals and parameters for themselves for their life.
Well, it is too.
Yeah. That's great.
It's
not necessarily good for everybody else.
Right. It's the cell phone, email, Twitter, it's the instant gratification and the instant accessibility. And that's I don't give my clients my cell phone number for that reason.
Listen, I talk to a lot of millennials now that are starting business and stuff like that. And I explained to them when I first got into business, most people didn't have beepers. Right. We didn't have cell phones. The fax machine was the fancy thing of the day, and when you left the office, that was it. You were done until tomorrow.
Right.
Very rarely did you, you may bring some work home with you and things like that. But if somebody called looking for you after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whenever you left the office, they had to wait until tomorrow.
It's totally changed. Everything has changed. Everything has changed.
And as it changed, and this was what I saw, and then what we did within our firm was we set boundaries. We set expectations with our clients right out of the gate. Just like you said, Saturdays, I'm not available on Saturdays. I tell everybody, unless we're working on a project that has to be done and I'm way behind in what my expectations were to get it done, and we have a serious deadline, I'm not working till 10 o'clock at night on your project. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it this way. And this is how long it's going to take, whatever it may be. 10 o'clock at night, my phone goes on silent. Only my immediate family can get me on my phone. And that's with text messages and ringing. And it doesn't turn back on till 7.
I am the funniest guy in the world that you ever want to call after 9. At 9 o'clock, I grab my Ambien, I hop into bed. If that phone rings, you're going to have the craziest conversation with somebody because I have no clue what the heck I'm talking about. No clue.
My grandparents used to think that if someone called after 9 o'clock, that meant someone died.
Exactly. That's true.
So
that's true.
Oh my God, who died?
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, these are the things that I guess our generation, Rob, because I'm assuming that we're fairly close in age, I would think. Our generation is that transitional generation.
Well, I'm
from,
41, so I don't know. I mean, look,
was that?
I'm 41, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. I got like 14 years on you. So
all right, I guess it's been a hard 41 then.
I apologize. I'm not good at that. But I'm in that transitional generation where I went from not being able, when we left the office and stuff like that, we didn't even worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't worry about, oh, is this client going to be chasing me or I'll deal with it tomorrow when I got back into the office. That was the mentality then.
I've always, even at the first one, going back, 12, 13 years ago, I would stay till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday, just so I wouldn't have to work on the weekends. Kind of finish everything up that really needs to get done. If that happened, it wasn't every week. And when you have to get something done, you have to get it done. But I'll just stay up and get it done, and not have to do it on Saturday. Like I had a motion to get out, and I stayed in the office till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right. And then as the internet really started taking hold in the late 90s, early 2000s, it's like I bought into that instant accessibility thing. Right. And I felt like I was working around the clock, and I was, until one day I woke up and said, enough is enough. I can't do this.
No, and the balance is important. You have to, there's a work-life balance for everybody, whatever that is, it is, and it's different, right? The scales of justice are behind me. So it'll balance one way or another,
right?
For different people, whatever their choices. But you have to, part of the attorney-client relationship is also managing expectations.
Yes.
And that's really what's important. And you do your clients a disservice if you don't tell them, listen, we can get clobbered on this case, or this is a bad deal that you're trying to buy this business without doing any business valuation. That's I'm having this conversation right now with a client. I said, where did you come up with that number that you offered him for his business? You didn't look at a piece of paper. You don't know how much he owes. You don't know what violations he has. You don't know what he's made in the last 3 years, let alone what COVID's done to him.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with that number? Why did you just tell him that number? And, we're in the process of doing due diligence now, and it's a very high number that he gave. And he wants the business. And listen, I told him it's a bad idea. I told him he overvalued the business substantially, but he wants to go through it. He's taking on the guy's liability. It's a great deal for the other side, a terrible deal for my client, and I can't talk him out of it. And I keep telling him this is a very bad deal. So unless he knows something that he's not telling me, or he sees something that I'm completely not seeing, he's overpaying. And
the odds are he was holding something back.
Well, that's typically what happens, right?
We hope so.
It's like any of those things.
How can you defend somebody? How can you protect somebody if they don't tell you the ultimate truth?
Right.
Listen, we can only do what we can do, right? We get the facts are presented to us, however they're presented to us. And if you choose not to tell me, I can't do anything about it.
Well, it's almost time for us to go. So I want to ask you one last question. What is the weirdest case that you ever dealt with? Or strangest case that you ever dealt with that you negotiated, litigated, whatever? Is there anything that stands out in your mind?
There's so many weird ones.
So many.
Yeah, yeah. Litigation is crazy. All right, this is a true story, and I don't really practice in matrimonial anymore, and this is probably one of the reasons why. And I thought I was being, it was a friend of mine, and I thought we were being tricked with the case. The person proposed, took the woman for a destination wedding with her parents and destination vacation with her parents, proposed to her, and she said no.
Oops.
Whoops. He didn't get, like, it was no, right? So that it happens. So they come back. So he tries harder. So he literally dresses up, buys a suit of armor, like real armor, like from the knights of yore, and goes to her house in the suit of armor with a lance or a joust, puts the ring on top of it, puts it up to her window, and starts to serenade her and say that he is her knight in shining armor and he will love her forever, and clearly missed the message. Police are called. He explains how he loves her and he's not done. They say no, he's done. So she had to get, pardon me, she had to get an order of protection. We get the call, and we thought that she was like trolling us, right? Or like we were on some sort of radio or candid, camera or something. But then we got the police report, and in the police report, the officer says, so and so dressed as, I think it was Sir Lancelot, like actually in the full suit of metal armor with the joust, and proceeded to. So everything I just told you was in the police report, and I'm like, this is impossible.
Well, it's amazing.
People like this out there.
It really is amazing what people will do. Rob, one more time, how can people get a hold of you?
Call me 516-986-9080. 516-986-9080. If you have questions, I don't charge for 2-minute phone calls. If you call me every day for 2 minutes, then I will start to charge you. But if you have questions, consultation, happy to help you, see if I can help. If I can't do it, I will send you to somebody that can.
And I gotta give a quick shout out to my favorite goddaughter, because evidently, the boys did a good job in guilting her to watch. So I've been getting texts over here. She's not happy with me, but my favorite goddaughter she is. So, all right. So Rob, we really love having you on the show. We want to have you back.
Definitely. I really appreciate it, guys. It was really a lot of fun. I can't believe the hour flew by. We have so much more to talk about.
Exactly.
And you did a lot of talking tonight, Rob.
Listen, I get paid by the hour or something.
And that's why so many people come back a second and or third time, because they don't get to finish what it is that they want to do. And you have much more information to go give the general public. But we thank you very, very much for being
great
here.
Guest.
You did a great job. You can take off your jacket now. And
I'm full suit, by the way. I'm totally
and have dinner, because you came out here. You probably didn't even have dinner yet.
Okay.
So again, we wish you the very, very best, and I'm sure I'll see you soon. And thank you so much.
Yeah, Rob, just hang out for a minute. We're going to say goodnight, and then we'll catch you in the back room.
Thanks, Joe.
Right?
Appreciate it.
All right, Rob. Thanks for being on.
What a great show tonight.
Oh, yeah, he was fantastic.
Well, now you know why he litigates. He likes to talk.
Well, that's what he does. I hope he doesn't
He's got a great personality.
Thank God we're
personality too.
right. Yeah, he's got a great personality. Definitely I want to sit down with him, find out more about his, what he's doing and how he's doing.
You guys can definitely do something together. So that's it.
Yeah.
So what are you doing this weekend? Are you up and about?
No, we're getting ready for the move. So, starting to pack some stuff up in our existing office to move to the new office space.
Like, remember, I told you I have some cabinets, or a big cabinet or something if you need big storage.
Man, it's amazing how many things you have to prep for this move, between internet and cabling and all.
Is Rob moving you?
Yeah, Rob is moving us. Yeah, Rob from Zipbox. Big shout out to Rob from Zipbox.
Rob from Zipbox.
Yeah. So
cool.
He's taking care of that. And so it's I'm excited about it. And that's where our new space is going to be.
I'm
Got a
loving
room
it.
all picked out for us. And yeah, I think we definitely can get 3 people spaced out where we're not going to have an issue.
Good.
And the
Sounds
6
good.
feet thing. So, we'll work all that stuff out. You'll have to come see it. And
Yeah, I'm
we'll-
looking forward to doing that.
So,
I want to
this-
wish everybody a great weekend.
yes.
Stay safe, stay healthy.
Remember
if you get a
Saturday
chance,
night, Neil Diamond.
If you're interested, just give me a buzz, 631-698-9696. Next week, we may be making a major announcement. And then again, maybe we won't. So,
Is this something I don't know about?
yes, it's definitely
Okay,
something you don't know
so
about.
I love how you do that. You do that all the time. You always we got a
it
major
happens-
announcement coming up, and I'm like, I'm in the
It
dark. I don't
happened
know what's
about a
going on.
half an hour before we went on air that I received a phone call. And original groups, no,
Mhm.
not tribute, and something that
Very
actually
cool.
I never did before.
Very
So
cool.
we'll see what happens. We'll
All
see
right, one more
what the
shout out
price
to
is
my brother Jimmy who's watching.
Hey, Jim.
Great show. He says great show, very informative. Thanks for watching, Jim. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And everybody else, have a very safe week. Make sure you're wearing your masks, all right? And just
Wear
be
the mask.
careful out there. And we will see you next Wednesday right here at 7 p.m. Sharp for the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man.
All
Good
right.
night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody. Bye-bye.